Hi guys, today it's a rainy day in the Philippines, so I just got my RC truck collection out and I figured I'd do kind of an update video on what's good on these trucks and what's bad, what I like, what I don't like, and then that way you guys can kind of decide what ones you want to buy. I've had all these for months and months and months, so I can tell you what breaks and what doesn't break. So let's start with the PX Toys. I have a whole video on PX Toys and why not to buy them, but I'll just do a little thing on them. My website here in the Philippines, all kinds of stores have PX Toys for sale. Sandyland, Speed Pioneer. So I bought the Speed Pioneer first, and then I found out after 7 days I needed all kinds of parts, and on Lazada, none of the stores have parts. They sell the PX Toys, but no parts, and I messaged them and asked them about parts, and they're like, sorry, sir, we just sell the whole thing. Well, differentials come apart on these things real quick. The 380 motor burnt up. It did not shut off. The the thermal shut off probably didn't work in the speed control. It burnt it up. It melted the body. I had to take a scissors and cut out all the wrinkled body, and nobody had a 380 motor. You can buy some 370s, you can buy 390s. Well, I bought a WL 390, and then the pinion gear was totally different. So then I had to spend like $8 on a pinion puller set, and I got the pinion gear off the 380, and I was able to kind of tap it onto the 390 carefully. And it works. The 390 has a longer shaft, so I had to use my hot glue gun and kind of make a temporary enclosure to keep the dirt out. But then if I have to get back in there again, like a heat gun will soften up the hot glue gun and I can get to it again. I didn't really want to cut the shaft on the 390 in case this didn't work out, because then I can still use that in my other WL toys. But yeah, if you like these things, just make sure you can get parts. The good thing is they're very good looking, and they have some ground clearance on them actually for being 1/18 scale. They actually go through quite a bit of dirt. But I had a transmitter stop working within 2 weeks. The motor went. The differentials are always clicking. I have to take them apart, clean them, and I just fill them up with epoxy to make them locked or whatever, posi traction. But a lot of problems with those. So that's my least favorite. GP Toys. These things are great. They're all two-wheel drive. The 912 here, and then the 911. I put oil-filled shocks on the 911 and fans on them, because in the Philippines, it's always 85 degrees, 90 degrees here. And then this one's stock shocks. This one with the soft suspension actually doesn't get stuck as easy because it kind of conforms to the terrain. This one's good for jumping, but the oil-filled shocks are for 1/10 scale, kind of stiff, and it gets stuck easier because it doesn't flex so much, but it's great for jumping. And I put a Dean's connector on this one and a Dean's connector on this one, so I can run my 2S and 3S batteries. On one video, I used my heavy cell phone as a GPS, and the stock battery is 17 miles per hour, and a little tiny 3S I have. It doesn't even have big wires on it. I ordered it. I think it's just for a drone or something, but I gained 3 miles per hour. And the good thing on GP Toys, parts completely available, and the only thing I broke is on the differential, the metal drive cup. I broke one on this one going down 13 concrete steps down to a river, and then the boy loves to jump this one, and he doesn't let off the throttle, so when it lands it does a wheelie. Well, he snapped one off too. But a differential is like $4. You get the bearings and everything, and then I just bought a couple extra for ahead of time, and then when the second one broke, I just took one of the cups off the other differential and stuff. So yeah, GP Toys, They're not super fast, but there's not much play in the steering. They're a lot of fun, and if you put a 3S in them, they're pretty fast. So far, none of the plastic gears have stripped on me, so yeah, I recommend them. They're a nice size, 1/12 scale, so they're not so little, and not as big as the 1/10, but yeah, they're a lot of fun, so those are cool. And then there's this one, the Xinlehong 9130. It's got a pretty nice transmitter. You can actually turn the speed down on it so that if a kid wants to learn on it, you know, he can't go so fast and crash it, and then when he knows what he's doing, you can take the limit off and go up higher. And nothing has broke on this one. It's got a 390 motor in it, 4-wheel drive. I put a fan on it, and it comes with LED lights. You just gotta push them in. I put a little hot glue on them because when you hit something with it, it would pop the lights out, and you just plug it into the receiver. So bright LED lights, and it's the same price as PXTOYS. So this one I give, a thumbs up. I guess the main thing before you buy one, just make sure parts are readily available. That's the main thing. I've had Traxxas, I've had Kyosho, the expensive ones. I had a brushless Slash, I had the Stampede. Those broke too. I broke parts on those, but as long as you can get parts, good enough. These are more budget-friendly trucks. They're not quite so expensive. So then, next up, these little guys, the WL Toys. Crazy fast. This one has the 390 in it, but they put a big pinion gear on that motor, so it outruns all my other trucks with 390s. And they come with shocks that you can put oil in them. They put a little bit in at the factory, but I just fill them the rest of the way up, and then I put a fan on it too for under $3. These little fans help cool them down. The only thing bad with WL Toys, not much ground clearance. The buggy, I put the monster truck tires on because the little tires that came with it always slap in the road. And then this one, not much ground clearance either. The PXTOYS, same size, a lot more ground clearance. So these are a little better, not in the really deep off-road stuff. They're fun in the sand and all that, but for rough terrain, they'll get hung up. And then another upgrade you kind of need to do, they come really towed out. The front wheels are aimed out when you get them. And so I just bought the adjustable pull rod kit. And I just bought one kit for about $8, and I put 2 of the rods on the race truck to tow it in, and then these on the buggy were leaning in the back, so I put the rods there and got them nice and straight, and then I put the other 2 on the front. Other than that, they're so fast. This one, out of the box, guys have GPSed it at about 60 kilometers per hour. They advertise on the box 70. Well, probably if you put a 3S in it and a little something, you could get that out of it. But crazy fast. But yeah, the only downsides, a little bit low to the ground. The transmitter is kind of basic. I wish they would put like a rate for the steering so that you can kind of tone down the steering when you're going 60 kilometers per hour, because just a little twitch on the wheel, you're just going every which way because they're really squirrely at that speed. And then they come with a little bit of play in the front end right away. I don't know. There's a few tricks online that guys have said you can do, but I tried them, a piece of wire one side to the other, but that just stiffened up my suspension, so I took it off. But yeah, none of these are 100% my favorite because each one can do something different. And then this guy, the Xinlehong 9125, a really nice transmitter. You can turn the steering rate down. It's got high and low. Basically, the low just limits the throttle so a new person doesn't demolish it right away. And then the only thing it broke, the steering servo stripped the gears, and online the guys say that's pretty common. Maybe there's a metal servo update you could get or something like that. And then I put the oil-filled shocks on it. It comes with 6 regular shocks, 2 in the front and then 4 on the back. But I jacked it up, oil-filled shocks, 1/10 scale, and I jacked it up too much. My dog bones were at a bad angle, and it wrecked a dog bone. And none of my stores sold the rear dog bones, but they all sold the front, which is kind of a constant velocity joint, CV joint. So I just experiment, and the front does fit in the back. You just got to take out the little driven cup, and then the whole thing fits perfectly. So then I just ordered a set of front ones and I put them in the back. So I think it's smoother yet. They don't have those dog bone pins. It's all constant velocity joints, so that's not a problem. But never stripped any gears. This one doesn't seem to run too hot. There's 2 390s right there running on this one big gear, reduction gear, and it always gets warm, but I didn't bother putting a fan on it because it's pretty enclosed for make it kind of splash proof. But yeah, that's a great one. This thing, you can do some rock crawling with it, and then you punch the throttle and the rocks are flying. So this one's a nice big size, and it's like a little under $100 is what I paid, ready to run with a battery. You can't do that with Traxxas, not even Duratrax. I don't even think Red Cat Racing, so it's really good. And then there's this thing, WPL. It's just a scale Toyota truck. I bought the kit one and then had to have my own radio, my own speed control. And yeah, it's not fast, and it's not the best rock climber either. It's got smaller tires, but it's just kind of cool because it's scale. It's got like a transfer case where the motor is in, and then it's got drive shaft front and back. But there was about 100 screws I had to put together, and I painted the cap silver and the wheels silver because they were white and I was kind of ugly. But yeah, it's not really my thing. I just did it because I like Toyota trucks. My first truck I ever bought in college was one of these Toyota trucks. So that's, it's for some people that just like to go slow motion crawling off road. It's okay. If you like to put something together, it's okay. But it's a hard plastic body. You go trying to bash it and you're going to wreck it, I guess. Not that it's fast enough to bash, but just a little overview, I guess. One thing on the GP Toys I forgot, the transmitter, there's no foam on the wheel. It's real basic transmitter, but it has good range and stuff. Other than that, that's just my overview on what breaks and what doesn't, and a little bit what's good and what's bad. So maybe you guys can subscribe and put a like on my video if it helped you out. So thanks a lot.